So you've asked me a little bit about vision and how that ties into running a responsible and effective program. And there's an old biblical passage that I always think about, that without vision the people perish. I would caution people that are trying to develop a vision to not be so tied into a time frame that they force a lack of creativity because they're so busy meeting a deadline. Sometimes you basically have to say, I have no idea how we're going to skin this cat. Let's come back to this in a week or two. And sometimes a week or two later, an idea pops in your head. And so try not to force vision. You can't force vision, I guess, is maybe what I'm trying to say. So what's a vision for our programs right now may be dramatically different 5 years from now. People need to be willing to chuck a whole chunk of their program if there are other compelling reasons to do this that show that you can do this better. If they said that's the next program's thing and we don't do that, they started to suffer because they couldn't evolve their vision over time. So what's a great vision now is not a great vision 5 years from now. Vision for an existing organization has to have far more buy-in, and it has to have ownership and contribution by the key individuals that are going to be responsible for those changes. They can contribute in some fabulous ways that will not be even visible to the original visionaries. And at that same time, pulling some key people out of different disciplines, regardless of their title, that have decent input, can really contribute to the vision. But it can't be to where they're hearing where their cell phone's buzzing, or there's an overhead announcement for them, or somebody's squawking on the radio that they need to come and take care of Billy. Vision time has to have sometimes its own atmosphere to really blossom, and for people to be able to take the time to really pick at it. But that takes pre-planning, and that takes involvement of some other people. That's not a visionary strength to say, I want to share this vision and now I have to operationalize how I'm going to do this. Can't I just write this down on a napkin and just tell somebody else to do it? So, a large 2x4 for visionaries by the operations person is sometimes an appropriate tool. Or maybe some psychotropic medication, I don't know. New employees trying to get a vision need to be given time to understand that vision. I like to use a 3-question rule with new people. You tell them what's going on, and then they say to you, now what do you mean by that? And so you explain how you supervise the kids in this particular situation. Then they ask the question later and say, now what was it that you said about these things? Was it this? And they start kind of checking it out. And then the last one, they're saying, now when the kids do this, this is kind of what we should be doing. So by the time they get the third question, they usually have that information somewhat crystallized, but they want to confirm it. To assume that people can embrace new vision off of just that one information dump is hurtful to the organization and to the employee and to the supervisor. Before we started Island View, Jared Ballmer and I took 4 different road trips. We got in his old red van and drove up through Idaho, into Butte, up to Helena, up to Kalispell, over and saw the guys at Rocky Mountain Academy, came down to Cascade School, worked our way down the Bay Area, talked to some ed consultants who we didn't really know at the time. Saw some programs down in Southern California doing the same kind of a thing. We'd drive back to Salt Lake. So we burned up some time. And each year we took a road trip. And that road trip resulted in us feeling more confident about some of the things that we were doing, and sometimes a little cocky, and other times embarrassed and envious. And so vision can't just be what's stuck in your own head or your partner's head. vision comes from your colleagues.